Oh, hello everyone. The way that my laptop over in my office is, it looks like I'm looking down. So I have to look up at the camera. I'm gonna have someone come over here and fix that for me. Um, how is everyone doing? I'm gonna start getting on live stream. That's what I'm gonna start doing. Getting on live stream, um, so that I can have you all to start coming up. That's if that's what you want to do. I know a lot of people don't necessarily want to uh, get on live and show their faces. I mean, but it wouldn't be a problem, I don't guess. I got on here for a few minutes to talk about Cornelius and Straight Drops court date. Cornelius don't seem to be that bothered. He don't. I think we focused on Straight Drop so much, and I'm just talking about um, us as like people that have been on social media. Okay, I think so many bloggers have focused so much on Straight Drop that Corn- Cornelius people have been able Cornelius has been able to get his money, but here's the thing. Cornelius, as far as the officials and things of that nature, I mean, they would watch whatever it is that they're watching with Straight Drop, they're also watching with Cornelius, okay? But I think social media has been so focused on Straight Drop that Cornelius kind of sort of just kind of seemed like he's a non-factor of a player when actually he's I would think one of the major players in this. I think because he's been so quiet, Straight Drop was a little bit more arrogant. Straight Drop seemed to have had, we know, more of the connections with some of the rappers and things of that nature. And I think that's why we kind of keep the focus more so on Straight Drop. But Cornelius is probably a bigger player because if you think about it, they've had Cornelius in jail as it relates to this Dolph's case ever since December, which is probably a couple weeks after Dolph was killed. If you look at my other video, I kind of dropped some information that people didn't know, and that is that the police was really looking to question Straight Drop exactly about 3 days after Young Dolph went um, after he was murdered. He was murdered, and what a lot of people don't know is that I'm sure here because I got so much going through my head and I have to kind of walk on a tightrope because, like I said, with me being, I don't, I would never want to because I do have insight and inside information. I don't want to give out too much information. I would never do that. When people trust me, and like I said, I had worked for the police department for 18 years. I would never. I care more about a case being solved rather than letting people know what I know, right? But um, but yeah, I don't think a lot of people know that he Straight Drop was a person of interest. 3 days they was looking to question him. 3 days after Dolph was murdered. Um, with Cornelius, that's why when you hear the prosecutor say the two people that shot the gun, we have those two people there. They was on top of this even when they was quiet and people thought that they were not on top of things. They was on top of them. They was on top of them. You think about homicides, MPD homicides, because when I worked for MPD, I worked for MPD for many years before I went over to the sheriff's office. You still have those old investigators over there at MPD, like Tony Mullins. They're now lieutenants and things of that nature. They were bomb.com. Caroline Mason is not in She's MPD, but she's a lieutenant colonel, and she's over at a precinct. She's not over the investigative area. She's not over the investigative unit. A lot of people don't know that. So when I see a lot of bloggers, especially those who do not know the structure of a police department, it's kind of funny to me, and it's kind of funny to a lot of the officers. But hey, make your money. I'm proud to see people on here with their creative contents and things of that nature and making legit money. They're not out killing people and things of that nature. But Caroline Mason is over a precinct. She's a colonel over a precinct. She's not over homicides, okay? So she wouldn't have anything to do with homicides, okay? She wouldn't. She couldn't give any insight because that's not her unit, okay? She's assigned somewhere else. A lot of people don't know that. But you have people like Tony Mullins, who was also a sergeant when Caroline was a sergeant, and they're all now lieutenants. And so even though you have a lot of new sergeants that are in the homicides units that are freshly new, a lot of people might feel like they don't have that fire, because I know they just had like a promotion of sergeants, and they have a lot of new sergeants, investigators that are in homicides. They still have those old heads. That's what we call them, old heads, like Tony Mullins and things of that nature, that has a wealth of knowledge and a lot of experience that's over them, that's guiding them. Okay. And then the feds got involved early on. Okay. And so with the feds getting involved, I knew that it had to have been a paid for, it had to have been a murder for hire, because that's oftentimes when feds get involved. And the murder for hire was more than likely sent from somewhere else. Whoever hired them, they paid them. They was in another state. Okay. So even though you might have rappers that are from Memphis, and I'm not saying there was any rappers or anything like that, they probably have homes or something somewhere else. If that's the case, if that's the case, that's all I'm saying. Um, yeah. So I think with Cornelius, we focus a lot on straight drop, because in the beginning, because of his arrogance. I think with straight drop, as I said, he was given a sense of false security. Straight drop was a troubled young man. He was looking for validation. Unfortunately, he was taken advantage of. And these men that took advantage of him, as I was saying in my other video, because I talked to one of my friends last night who is actually one of the persons that escort straight drop. As I was saying in my video yesterday, when I saw that his eye was swollen, I was like, okay, I heard some bloggers saying, well, it looked like he had been beat up, blah, blah, blah. When I talked to him last night, he was like, nah, he's in segregation. And because I work for the sheriff's office for so many years, I know what segregation is. They do stop movements. They segregate them and put them in other areas of the jail, especially when it's high profile cases. When he's moved to go use the phone, when he's moved to go get visits and things of that nature, they stop movement in the jail so that and other inmates are locked down so that he can be protected. When he has to go use the phone, officers have to be there to, as security, they to stand there. That's how I can tell you with a lot of certainty he's stressed out, because a lot of those people that he thought was going to come through for him, and he still has hope. They're probably telling him, we're trying to, in codes, we're trying to figure out how to funnel that money to you. But the first law is self-preservation. They know how hot this case is. They understand now. The feds have been on it even before and had tapped in even before they ever even knew it. So they're going to leave him out there to dry. And that's why he's so swole up. People have changed their phone numbers. He can't even get in touch with a whole lot of people. So he sees at this point that he has been used. He was, if people are trying to, these G's that said that I got you, I told you I got your back. First of all, a lot of the ones, as I was saying in my other video, that said that they got his back ain't got a pot to piss in. You talk about good attorneys like Leslie Ballin and attorneys like that. Those are attorneys even better than our Horn. People like Steve Faris, those good old mob attorneys, you talk about $30,000 retainers fees. Okay? His friends can't afford nothing like that. And the people that can afford it, that probably put him up to it, that said that they was gonna have his back, they probably already know a Rico coming. Okay. So they got to preserve themselves because they don't need nothing else. That's what I'm saying. If a Rico is coming, I said that slipped out. Okay, so I don't know if a Rico is coming. You know what I mean? So they got to try, and self-preservation is the first law, right? Preserve yourself, take care of yourself. And I think that's what Straight Drop is saying. And when I was talking to my friend last night, he was saying, the sad thing about it is I could tell, he's all he got is hope. That's all he's got is hope. Because he ain't got no money or nothing else. And because he wants to keep the title of keeping it real and not snitching, that's what these old heads do. These older dudes do to these young men. You a G, yeah, he didn't snitch, he ain't say a word. While they stay out on the street because they can't go upstate. As they say in New Orleans, they can't go in Joe's upstate. They wimpy, they no good, they dirty. So they send out our youth. And that's why I get mad at the African American men, because instead of them being in the households and teaching their sons and keeping them away from quote unquote people that they call themselves, because see, we put people on a pedestal that ain't no good just because we feel like they got a little money. And believe it or not, like I was talking to my friend last night, he said they killed Young Dolph for nothing. He said they killed that boy for nothing at all, other than jealousy, and that's a crying shame. And so, as I always say, Young Dolph was not Straight Drop's enemy. He was not on the level as Straight Drop. Straight Drop was not on the level as Young Dolph. So with Cornelius, I think even so, Cornelius is probably, he's a little older. He's about 31, 32 years old. Even though what he did was stupid, he's got a little bit more sense and knowledge than Straight Drop. Okay. So I think Cornelius understands self-preservation law, even though he at least he could keep himself from the death penalty. Maybe he could get out at some point, and let me just say this. I hate what they did to Young Dolph. I think about some of the stuff that Young Dolph did here in Memphis. And I thought about the one time I met Young Dolph, and I think they called my company. But the one time I met Young Dolph was in a hot wing place right here on Elvis Presley. And it's called Debo's. And he was sitting there. I don't know a whole lot about this new age rap, okay? And he said, I walked in and he got up, he was eating some wings. He said, hey, little mama. And I started looking around, I'm like, little mama. And he said, can I pay for your food? He said, can I pay for your food, whatever your food costs? I was like, okay. He said, the only thing you got to do is, he said, I got an album coming out. He introduced himself. You listen to my album. If you like my album, then you pass this on to somebody else, to tell somebody else about my album. Everybody that was coming into that hot wing place, it wasn't everybody. He was doing that to everybody that came in. The boy got it from the mud. Okay. He understood how to do marketing. I remember about 2014 when I first started, I have a local TV show here. I've always done cold cases. When I got into private investigative work, I did cold cases. So when I do believe, because I asked my daughter, I didn't know a whole lot about rap, labels and things of that nature. I just knew I couldn't have artists on my TV show because at that time I was working for the police department that was throwing up gang signs. So I asked my daughter, I was like, this artist, he called me. He was like, I want to come onto your TV show to bring my groups on and talk about my album. And so I remember saying, asking a lot of questions or whatever. And I said, well, it's a fee. And he said, how much? And I thought when I gave a balloon fee, because I was really just trying to run them off. Because I was like, I can't have artists. I don't know anything about these rappers. I can't have them on here throwing up gang signs because I didn't know. And I work for the police department too. And I said, well, the fee, if you want to come on my show to promote your stuff, it's gonna be $1,200. He said, who do I need to pay? I said, oh my God, he got to be a drug dealer. I didn't know, He was like, who I need to pay? He said it just that quick. And I was like, Lord, that didn't run him off. And I remember asking my daughter, she was like, oh, that's just a group here. My daughter knew, you know. But see, I didn't know. I didn't know. Um, so the young man has been getting it in, and the reason Dolph probably was able to see my show is because I came on at 6 o'clock. Thaddeus Matthews came on at 7. So a lot of people, even though I had crime shows and things of that nature, I interviewed a lot of politicians around the city. People would catch my show, even if they was tuning in to Thaddeus. They would always, especially the younger people, would always catch my show, like right as at the end, the last 10 minutes or whatever, when they was tuning in to Thaddeus show, right? So so the young man has been, and that was around 2014 that happened. I'm talking about as far as getting that phone call. So the young man has been working hard trying to build something. One of my cousins was saying that Dolph used to put his CDs on cars. He said you would come out in North Memphis, he would have his CDs on your car windshield or whatever. He said, and Dolph would go, man, just give me a chance, just listen to it. It's free. Just give me a chance, dog. Just give me a chance. That's all. And this was years ago. So this is a young man that was working hard to try to build and establish something, which is a lot of the reasons why, as one of the officers was saying, they understand why he was not retaliating when they was trying to take his life. See, I feel this way, especially as a mother and as a citizen. All he had to do, because Dalton knew who was trying to take his life those first couple times, just like we know who it was that was trying to take his life. All he had to do was tell. But unfortunately, with black men, with black people, we look at this TV stuff with these Italians, rats, and we don't tell. If he had told, the people who tried to take his life would have been in jail at this point, because they wouldn't stop. They understood that he did not want to get into that crossfire because, number one, he had artists. They wanted to kill it. They wanted a reason to destroy him, period. They wanted him to get back into a pissing contest with him and start going at each other. Number one, it would have helped the labels out, especially now that we see how much money and insurance that they put on their artists. So these label heads ain't shit, okay? So they trying to kill Dolph. If Dolph had gotten back into a pissing contest with them, and okay, well, I'm gonna go take out one of his artists. They're trying to take me out. The other record heads would have been winning because they got all these insurance on these artists. So it would have made, I'm mad. He done took out. They wanted them to take out several. But because the man was raised up by his grandmother, he understood that the police was probably watching him, especially, quote unquote, if he was selling weed. That's a rumor that has not proved to be true. I don't know, but he said in the past that he had been in the streets, okay? That came out of his own mouth. And he don't want to get these young dudes that's looking up to him. He don't want to put himself in a position to have to go away. He don't want to get these young dudes that are still out in the street, that he's trying to get out in the street, in the crowd, caught up in the crossfire. That's a real CEO, because I'm sure he had insurance on his artists too. These other labels, if they wanted to retaliate, he could have been going back and forth with them and hoping, just like some of these other labels wanted him to do, that they would take out some of his artists. But Dolph was a multi-millionaire. He didn't need to get insurance money off of his artists getting killed. So he wanted to preserve his artists, okay? He wanted to preserve these young men. He wanted to change their lives. He didn't want another label to begin into a pissing contest. They shooting down each other's artists, like these other labels thinking, well, we try to kill him, he come back and kill one of mine. They don't give a damn about their artists. Then I get the insurance money. We see how much they insured them now. But Dolph didn't want his artists getting killed because those other labels was just ready, okay? So Dolph said just last year, I was looking at an interview, that he had just invested in $8 million each into 2 different businesses. He didn't say what businesses they were. He said, I was about to get out of the record industry. That's why he said, he said, I was about to get out of the music industry. He said, then my young dudes started calling me. People was cussing and crying, talking about they was depending on me. And he said, I started thinking about, I do got fans that would be selfish. I can't help to change these, he called them my little niggas, my young niggas' lives. He said, so I decided to go ahead, get back into this and put money behind my artists. That's when he started signing different artists, right? He started signing different artists. He wasn't signing them so that he could get into a pissing contest with these ignorant Negroes that's getting ready to go to jail. The feds get ready to get, because they sure getting ready to get them. I get mad and I have to pace myself because I think about all the information I got and how they just shot that boy down because of jealousy in this show makes me real mad. Okay, you think about Snoop Bands, who is sort of like an original. You think about Key Glock, okay, who's good. But Moochie Great is a beast. He knows how to ride lyrics, okay? So he's signing all these young dudes and changing their lives, okay? He's talking about how they're making money. He's not raping them in their contracts. You see what I'm talking about? He's showing them how to be millionaires. That is not conducive to the record company. That is not conducive to a record head who is raping their artist. And then Dolph was talking about it. So it was not conducive. It was not conducive for him to be signing these artists, showing them how to be millionaires and not raping them. It was not conducive to other predatory record heads. Okay? So then people want to get into a contest and ain't no harm. It's hard for even us, me being in my 40s, and other people, because Yo Gotti is in his 40s. It's hard for us to believe that he would be mad about Dolph saying that he was the king of Memphis, because Yo Gotti ain't never been considered the king of Memphis. Because even before Yo Gotti, 3-6 Mafia, Paul and them, I went to school with Paul and them, okay? They was a little older than me. DJ Paul lived right on the next street. He lived in Twinkletown, a area. Paul grew up rich, okay? He would go over to the hood, but his folks, Paul's dad had a successful gospel group called the Boy Guys Groups, because my grandmother and them used to go see him sing. So he understood the music industry. Paul's dad had a pest control company, and they lived in where those black doctors and lawyers lived, DJ Paul and them. Paul would remember me. Now, Juicy and them grew up in North Memphis. I didn't know them, but I knew Paul, because when we moved out of South Memphis, we moved to the same area that DJ Paul lived in, with nothing but black teachers and doctors and lawyers, okay? So Paul was even working hard as a little DJ even then. So even before Yo Gotti, Paul and them did it big, okay? They did it big. They even went 3-6 went and won an Oscar. So I can't understand how Yo Gotti would be jealous of Dolph saying he was the king of Memphis when Gotti was never considered the king of Memphis. I don't mean no harm, but he wasn't. But I think because Dolph had a heart, Dolph was giving back. Dolph did some things for folks that people don't even know about. He was buying cars for people. He was helping people to start businesses. You talk about Grove Hero. That food truck I'm hearing, Dolph bought for Grove Hero, okay? And that's why, now this is what somebody told me. They said Grove Hero said several days a week he would go give food out for free because Dolph invested in him, okay? And it was to help the people of Memphis. And so that's why people, the officers are mad and people are so, and they're saying if it takes years, we're going to get to the root of this. And with the way that Straight drop, because they take out a boy who's truly helping Memphis, with helping to change young dudes that's in the street and making them millionaires, okay? He was truly helping. He was truly giving away money. You hear Dolph say all the time, There's a video of Dolph where the little kids was trying to get across the street to see him, and their mama said they almost got hit because they saw you was over here and they was trying to get over here to see you. He said, we can't have no kids getting hit. He said, but since y'all made the efforts, y'all know I got something for y'all, right? Now this is on video. He went in his bag, started giving the little kids money because he came from nothing, and he was and yogotti came from nothing. That's why I don't get this. I don't understand this. Yes, people will love you if you are helping them. It ain't about buying them because so many people are givers. I'm a giver. So many people are givers. I can't give on the level of Dolph, but it makes you happy, especially when you've came from nothing. And then you get to the caliber of Dolph and you're able to see the smiles on people's faces. That ain't putting on. That dude was helping people in Memphis because I'm right here in Memphis. Anytime you have some of those officers down there crying, he gave my grandmama I grew up in Castelia. My grandmama sure couldn't wait till Dolph gave out turkeys. He gave out food. He did this. He did that. He was giving out money to nonprofit organizations that was helping the community. Big money. And you mad at that man because he's truly one of the ones that's giving back. And that's what I can't understand with the citizens of Memphis. You let somebody make a fool out of you to go take down somebody that's helping our community. Dolph tried to help Straight Drop. But Dolph was a businessman. He understood. Dolph said it himself. He said there was some dudes, and I see now other rappers are trying to adopt it, but they just ain't got the genuine heart, and that fakeness shows. So every time that they try and go fool the people, God gonna let it blow up in their faces. Dolph said years ago, he said there's some dudes I can't even deal with. He said they start trying to hang around me, and I hear them say they got kids. He said I wait a little while and I start, man, I never see you with your kids. I never see you, I never hear you talking about your kids. He said they start talking about, well, I don't be around my kids because my baby mom. He said I can't have dudes like that around me. You ain't taking care of your kids. You ain't doing this. He said I can't deal with that. I can't have nothing like that around me. So when I tell you he tried to help Straight Drop, then he started finding out from what I'm hearing from a reliable source about Straight Drop had that rape charge. Straight Drop was still doing outlandish things. He had just invested $8 million a piece in 2 different businesses. He said himself that was going to make him a billionaire. He only got back into music to help the little dudes that was up under him. And that made a lot of people mad because he was showing them, he was intending to get back up out of it again. So he's showing them how to making them millionaires, showing them how to be millionaires and how to work this independent thing. Okay. And so that made a lot of predatory record labels mad. It made them angry. Okay. So he was just a problem. He was just a problem. They was already jealous. It goes beyond any woman. Trust me when I tell you. And when I can sit here and tell you that they are going to try and get as close, because it's going to be some people thrown up under the bus. I was looking at, look, God bless his little heart, a video that Black Youngster put out today. I just looked at some of it. Okay. I couldn't even look at all of it. People going crazy saying he said that he already solved his brother's case. I'm going to tell you something that Black Youngster is that I believe that Black Youngster is doing. I think Black Youngster want to die. That's what I think. I hate to say it. I do. And the reason, me personally, I feel that is because if he was involved in this, he know how close they are. And he would be the one that they would throw out there to take the fall anyways. If they got to get anybody higher up, above Straight, if it goes above Straight Drop them. And he understands that he's been used. But I think because of his mental state, and you could tell he ain't doing good either. I think he wants something to happen to him, because if he can keep picking at these young dudes that he already know, and one of the reasons that I feel One of the reasons he keep doing it, I feel like he wants for Pre to do some type of retaliation. They smarter than that, y'all. Those young men on that label, that's why a lot of times you see them spew out anger. They know exactly what happened, and they know how deep the feds are in it. They will be some fools to go and retaliate, and they know everybody is being watched and being investigated. And because they have the main two, it won't be long before the other ones are got. So you have to just let the wheels of justice spin. These young men are talented, and they need to carry on Dolph's legacy. But I'm gonna tell you something that pisses me off. You have old, crusty, black, rusty, nappy neck Negroes. I say that when I get mad. Black men who are supposed to be kings, that are supposed to be heads of their household, that are supposed to be protecting their black women, that are supposed to be protecting their children in their households, getting on here, getting in the comments, Pre just ain't gangster enough. These are older men. They ain't gangster enough. CMG just gangster. They supposed to have been bust back. So black people have become so messed up. They constantly want to see bloodshed. And a lot of it comes from jealousy. Okay. You know why? Because I've seen in the beginning bloggers, they took the head out. Well, Key Glock them ain't gonna be able to do this. They took the head out. They grinning, smirking. This is the state that black people are in, and it's a sad thing. Instead of saying those young men, we're gonna pray for them to hold a peace, because in my opinion, youngster is picking because he might know more than we think he knows. That's right. All that sweat was pouring out of him. That's if he was in allegedly. Now, this ain't allegedly that sweat. They was constantly wiping his face. He did a concert. That's a person that ain't doing good. Okay. That's a person that's taking in too much. It's coming out through his pores, probably because he's dealing with some stress. Okay. So that toxicity of whatever he is going into him is coming out. Okay. You could tell that his mental state ain't right. Okay. So if I can egg somebody up to go, because he said himself, when my brother was killed, I wanted to die. That came out of youngster's mouth. Okay. So now let me break this down. The rumor, this is the rumor. You heard the insurance agent say that. The insurance agent, I know where his office is. I've never been to I know his dad is running for something here in Memphis. They got the same name. Okay. So the insurance agent said that youngster sent his brother allegedly to go and kill Dolph. I had never heard that. As I had said before, I grew up in South Memphis until I was 12 years old. Okay. Black youngster's mother, and I won't say her name, and one of my best friends who I've been best friends with, which is Black youngster's cousin, since I was 5 years old. We're so close, we call each other cousins. Black youngster's mother used to be over at her house. Black youngster has the same smile. When she told me, she said, "You know who Black youngster's mom is? This is before Dolph was killed." I said, "No, who?" And she told me. I said, "Oh my God." I remember I used to play with her. She had a nurturing spirit when she was at her cousin's house, which is my best friend. The same way youngster smiled when his mother was about 10, 11 years old, she had that same smile. Okay. So Black youngster said himself, because I didn't see her no more. I haven't seen her no more since she was about 12 years old. I ain't seen her. Okay. So youngster said himself, my mother got out. My mother was a hustler. So you talk about generational curses, and I'm gonna leave that alone. Okay. Because I don't know what happened. I just know I didn't see her anymore at my friend's house. She stopped coming over to her cousin's house. And that was around that time, because I know she had Black youngsters, started having youngsters and his brothers, them pretty young, I'm hearing. Okay. So that's unfortunate, because he said his this is his words, that his mother was a hustler. And I'm through with that. but she had a nurturing spirit. I used to love when she was at my friend's house because she was a little older than us, about 3 years older. So she was just a nurturer. It's unfortunate that whatever happened after 12. Okay. So if Black Youngster himself, who is the oldest of him and his brothers, if he, as that insurance agent said, sent his brother to go kill Dolph, that's not what happened. And that's how that came up. When she told me, she said, well, Black Youngster's brother was killed. That's not the conversation. So I don't know how true it is. So they never, and even now they don't believe that Dolph had anything to do with Black Youngster's brother being killed. So I don't know where that insurance agent got that from. I'm not saying it's not true. I'm just saying his family never thought that Dolph did. Maybe they didn't know. Maybe the insurance agent knows something that the family didn't know. Okay. So, but let's just say that happened. If I'm breaking it down, Black Youngster shouldn't be mad at Dolph because according to the blogs, they had made several attempts on the man's life. He even made a song about it. So if Youngster sent his brother out, if it's true, I don't know if that's true, to go and hurt Dolph, was Dolph supposed to let him kill him? So if something happened to Youngster's brother, if he put him off that bus and sent him, or whatever happened, to go and kill Dolph, shouldn't Black Youngster be mad at himself? He shouldn't be mad at Dolph's people for protecting Dolph. So that's kind of, that kind of sounds insane to me. It just kind of sounds insane to be mad, if that's true, at Dolph. But then there's a lot of stuff that has not come out that's absolutely insane. Like killing somebody or having somebody killed because of jealousy is insane to me. And that's what all of this boils down to. And this is something I heard from the officer last night that I was talking to. That's my friend. And when he said it with a lot of humility. And I could tell, he said they sure got to pay for what they did to that boy. They sure killed that boy. They was wrong. They sure killed that boy for nothing. Tamara, they killed him for nothing. Dolph is dead for nothing. Okay? And he knows. But so if that happened, then he sent his brother. And here's the thing. Black Youngster has said it. His family says it. He never had no issues with Dolph. Youngster never had any issues with Dolph. Dolph and Youngster, and Youngster has put out some good stuff, but they're not on the same level. I'm not saying that Youngster could not gotten up there with Dolph, but Youngster was not Dolph's competition. Let's just be real about it. He was not his competition. So Youngster never had an issue with Dolph saying he was the king of Memphis. They're not on the same level. Youngster just glad and just happy. See, Black Youngster is like so many other young men who came from nothing. McMillan is a very impoverished area. Very. Still is, always was in South Memphis. Okay. So Black Youngster didn't understand that it was God, because God gave him the talent that put him on the level. See, that's what people forget. He gives all praises to Gotti or somebody else. When it was God that put Gotti where he was. Gotti didn't do it on his own. It is God that touches the heart of man. So with that being said, I'm going to go back to Youngster and Dolph were not on the same level. They had no reason to be enemies. You never even heard Dolph even say nothing about Youngster other than Gotti put him up to do it. When they asked him, what you think about Youngster? I don't think anything. Gotti got him doing it. That's all Dolph would say. I ain't got no problem with the young nigga. Gotti got him doing it. See, Dolph was about 36 years old. Youngster's about 30, just turned 31. That's all he would ever say, that he got him doing it. You could see that in videos. That's not something I'm pulling out of my butt. He would always say it. And they said, well, what about, he's talking about shooting up the car. I don't think nothing about it. He never would even really talk about it because he wanted it to go away. I think he said he started investing into, he invested last year in two $8 million businesses each that was going to make him a billionaire. That's why he was leaving the music industry. But me personally, I think he started trying to get away from the music industry because they was insisting on they was going to kill him. Okay. Let's just be real about it. Whoever was trying to kill him was insistent on they was going to get him. And he decided that he wanted to be with his family. When those young boys, those young men started, he said, my young niggas started saying, we calling them crying, saying we depending on you, cussing them out, you know, he thought about that would be selfish. He came back to change their lives. Them folks didn't want him teaching them the game, especially when they're used to raping artists, when they're used to making artists think that they're God. They're used to giving them messed up contracts because a lot of them can't even read and write. And even if they can read and write, they can't even understand the language. So they would need their own attorney, not the record label's attorney who is going to be for the record label, but their very own attorney. Okay. So they didn't like that. So y'all, you know, I know I got all in a whole into a, I got all when, but I think myself, and it's a sad thing with this situation. I think even out of all of them, if anybody has any guilt, and this is just my opinion, as far as straight drop, it would probably be Black Youngster, and his guilt would come in if he's got any affiliation with this allegedly. I don't know, and that he can't do nothing to help him because self-preservation is the first law. You start funneling money, the feds are going to know, because if you go give some money to a friend, then they go and get straight drop an attorney, the feds going to start, because I'm telling you now, I do investigative work. You can subpoena records, bank records, anything. It ain't no way for them to funnel money without the feds knowing, and they've been involved 3 days after Dolph was killed. Like I just told you. I told y'all yesterday, if you look at that other video, they was at Straight Drop's house. He lived in a high rise that was real expensive downtown. So he was putting in some kind of work somewhere. So he probably is understanding now he's going to be charged with some more stuff. Okay. Okay. And I can't give away a whole, what they have on Straight Drop, but they got him. That's why people say, I think they just ain't got none. They got him. They do. I think Cornelius, with him being a little older, they had Cornelius a whole month. Over 300 people was arrested. You think them folks that knew about what happened, that probably did the least, that sat in on stuff being planned, gonna go down? If they were just sitting there, nothing, they heard them planning it, and then they went and did it, and then the police bring them in, they start looking at all kinds of charges. You think they're gonna go down? Because everybody might not have even been in agreement with what went on with Dolph, because he probably helped some of them. It was 300 people arrested in this situation, over 300. But that's what I say about young men getting back into their households. Your children should not be in awe, and then they finally get the opportunity. I think about Grove Hero. Grove Hero said he was dealing with CMG. When Dolph gave him an opportunity, he said, I was at my grandmama's house starving, didn't have no money, didn't have nothing. Dolph gave me an opportunity, paid me, put me up on some game. He said, I was hanging around CMG. Now, this came from Grove Hero. And Dolph gave me the opportunity to feed my kids, gave me some money and gave me an opportunity where I can feed my kids, put me up on some game. And they started texting me, somebody from CMG started texting him with a whole lot of emotional stuff, and then block him. He said, I would think, he said, I was being around them, but they weren't breaking me off nothing. I was supposed to be happy just being around them. This man gave me an opportunity and some money. And that's what's going on with a lot of these kids. No self-worth, these young adults, because they ain't got no father figure. Folks feel like you want to hang around us, you want to smoke some weed, you want some free pills or whatever. I'm not saying CMG doing it. I'm just saying, or anybody. we some stars. You ought to be just happy hanging around us, taking pictures with us, even though we ain't giving you nothing, and go do our dirt, allegedly. But then somebody like Dolph put them up on some game, want to see somebody make some money. They getting emotional, and then people got to say that it wasn't a problem. It was a problem. The feds understand. I'm gonna tell you something. I do investigative work, and I work with the feds all day, every day. I was trained. When I decided to get into this 8 years ago, I was trained by a retired FBI agent. They got access to stuff that local police departments don't have access to. When he started training me, he was like, "You work for the police?" Dog, I would go, "Dog, I never, I work for the police department." They don't have access to, I probably shouldn't have said that. But they know more about intelligence than a lot of the local law enforcement. That's why when people say it don't mean nothing when the feds, yeah, it do mean something. Ain't nobody safe. You think the government gonna allow the citizens? That's why I can't understand why every case in America ain't solved. Okay, that's how I know they just want us to keep killing each other, because they know everything. Okay, anytime you can have equipment, I ain't got no access to it, but the government can have equipment with their hired agents and can take something that look like a gun and point at your house and see everything that's going on in your house. They have to have court orders and probable cause to do it, but they can do it. A brick house, and you think they ain't got nothing? You think the feds involved and ain't got nothing on straight drop? We understand when the feds. Why you think straight drop them ain't got no money? Because them Negroes that sent them out understand how the feds work. Don't let them fool you. That's why I say, in my opinion, I think Black Youngster would rather them just take him out. That's why he constantly putting out this crazy music. But I'm so happy that Pre is not going for it. You have to let the wheels of justice turn. And as Black people, we got to stop trying to encourage them to get involved in stuff like that. How they just going to do this? This is why we ain't got nothing. We go and crash out because of words. These young men already went through hell. Their head, who was helping to change their life, that understood. He said, once I got the recipe, he started trying to tell everybody else the recipe. He put it in his music. I was broke until I figured out the recipe, and he was giving the recipe to the young dudes around him. That's why he was taken down. One of the reasons why. So he started helping these little dudes around him. These little dudes are in the street. He giving them a reason. They making money. They seeing where they can change their families' lives. And we as Black folks, with the hell that we've gone through, we gonna encourage them to go and retaliate and do stupid stuff when we already know that the feds are involved, so that they can be in jail right with straight drop, right? Because it ain't gonna bring Dolph back. Instead of encouraging them, I'm talking about Black men that are supposed to be the head, stupid, nappy neck Black men. They just ain't gangster enough. Instead of saying, I'm proud of my brothers, go make Dolph proud. Because them dudes, they through a lot, and they are. They're done. If it take 2-3 years, I'm hearing they ain't giving up. Them books and stuff better be right from what I'm hearing. Because when you do stuff like this, it gives them the opportunity to start tapping into other stuff until they get, because they don't get you one way, they'll get you another way. That's why when you start seeing people and they go and do something, and they like people that want to be like John Gotti, and I keep saying, first of all, that stuff was made for TV. John Gotti and them had attorneys that was crooked and things of that nature. These Black attorneys can't be crooked. And you talking about Tennessee. Tennessee is a completely different state than New York, okay? These Black attorneys are going to have to operate in the perimeters of law. And you talk about them old judges down there, them old judges that have been sitting on the bench that ain't really got no understanding of rap. All they Probably feel like you ain't even supposed to, you preaching destruction, and then they got the evidence to go do it. That you go do it, and they got the evidence that you did it. So, as I was saying before, I don't. It does not make me happy that these two black men are, in jail. Their lives are ruined, all because of other men that was in a position to help to change their lives. But instead, they looked at their lives of not being nothing. Because if you got an issue with somebody, you supposed to be a G. Why don't you go kill him? Why don't you go do it? If you a G, go do your own work. But you're a coward, and you go get immature, troubled men that you could be helping. Start some programs and help them. Instead, you give them you. I'm talking about record labels of different. I'm not talking about just one record label, because they ain't gonna say what she putting out. No, I'm just saying any record label or any organization. You in a position to help them, but you sign them to make them your hit men. They got to prove themselves because you don't think nothing of their lives. This should be a lesson to every black man out there. These folks don't care nothing about you. If you got an issue with a man, you go knock that chip off his shoulder. You don't put me up to do your dirty work. That goes to show they want to be out here flossing their life, and what they got going on is more important than you, because they understand you can get caught up just like he did. Straight Drop has so much faith in these people that he all but said he did it on social media. He all but said he did it. And I wouldn't be surprised, but when they were setting him up, if that stuff is true about, they were saying that Yo Gotti was putting some, I don't know if I don't even know if it's real, because I know they know how to Photoshop stuff. They claim he put on there, my young dude go to jail, I'm gonna get him out. First of all, why would he, if it's true, I don't know. But if it is true, why would he be, this man is being accused of murder. Why would he be that involved? Number one, why would he be that involved? Most people would sit back and say, dog, I sure didn't, I might not have cared for him, but if he did that, that's messed up. You know what I mean? I'm gonna sit back and see what happens. But you automatically say he go to jail, I'm gonna get him out. You don't even know what supposedly what happens yet, right? What happened yet, right? Right? So that was consistently giving Straight Drop a sense of false security, right? So then now I thought, maybe I didn't see it. I thought I saw our Horn say he was going to represent him. I thought I saw it. I live here. Maybe I didn't see it. I stand to be corrected, but I thought I did. I don't know though. Maybe I didn't. But it's a lot of high profile attorneys here in Memphis. Art Horn isn't the only one. So if he did say that, why him? So there's some type of affiliation. I'm not saying, I'm just saying with Straight Drop and them. Why? So y'all, we got to stop putting people on pedestals who we feel has made it, because we put as black people, we feel like people that have made a lot of money. Forget the characters and the character and the morals. We put them on pedestals. We trust our children with them. When we have the power to control it, people destroying our community, we don't support them. We pull our resources back, and we don't let our children support them. We don't let them listen to that mess, and so that they can go, if they're promoting being crash dummies, they don't promote that in no other community. They don't promote disrespecting women in any other community. These black men can't even get a deal unless they are disrespecting the black woman. These girls can't even get on TV unless they're black women, unless they're showing they're being whores. This is what they're doing to our community. Now what you're going to start to see is, like I was saying in the other video, You're going to start seeing people who own record labels, mark my word, they're going to start paying people that look just like you and me to start promoting you should not be independent. Mark my word, it's too hard. You need to go and get with a major label, with that back end, this and that. Mark my word. That's one of the reasons Dolph was taken out, because he was teaching the recipe. Us, a lot of people know the recipe, but they don't necessarily. It's all right for you to know the recipe as long as you don't help bring other black folks out of bondage, because these black boys are the ones with the talent as far as rap. It's all right if you got the recipe as long as you don't put it in a cookbook and show everybody. And Dolph was teaching his young men, and that was an issue. And he was going to sign more young men. That was an issue. They tried to buy him several times, but he wouldn't take the money because he understood his worth. He had the recipe. So that little 21 million, he said himself, 100 million ain't nothing to me. He said 100 million, that used to be a lot of money to me. It ain't nothing to me now. I got the recipe. And that was an issue. That was an issue. And it bothers me that you see black women that are so messed up, that are supposed to be maternal, that as long as these Negroes take a picture with them, send them to a Grizzlies game, black women that have been through hurt, we've all lost people in our families. But their tune would change. You know what? That boy is all right. He is. He had took a picture with me. That's all it takes. Give her a few little $100. I ain't gonna give you enough to change your life. Give her a couple thousands, and they done bought your loyalty off, and they able to ruin your children. That's what's going on. And because Dolph's heart was in the right place, because he truly wanted to bring, my favorite saying is, Pharaoh, let my people go. There are a lot of people that we, it's our fault, have put in high places in their Pharaoh, as far as rappers, politicians, all of these people. And I truly believe God was using Dolph when God said, Pharaoh, let my people go. A lot of people are in bondage. I heard somebody say, black youngster said, God took me out of bad living. I'll always be loyal to him. I wonder how that contract look. Is he that loyal to him? I wonder how that contract look. Because one thing about it, when people truly care about you, they ain't going to put you in their mess. They don't want you to be into it with other people, because they understand what it could result and end in, especially you talking about ignorant Negroes. They ain't going to put you up to do their dirty work. They try and preserve their talent. They don't want you in their mess, not even to make no money. But it was personal with Dolph. It's one thing to put it in records. It's another thing when you're sending folks out to go and kill somebody. That's why I say, I don't know if it's true about black youngster sent his brother, with the insurance agent said, but if he did, it's his own fault. You is the reason. If you did that, you're the reason your brother did. So how could you put that on Dolph? You see what I mean? So, and for what? Because your issue, who you do it for? Because you didn't have no beef with Dolph. Y'all had never had clashed or had beef. So you sent your brother out, if this is true, for somebody else. You put your brother's life on the line for another man. That's what I'm talking about. You got black men loving other men more than they love their own family and children. Because when you go and do this stupid stuff, you'll be taken away from your kids, your mama, your family. Your mama left with a broken heart. She started having all kinds of ailments in her body because she worried about her child more than that dummy, that predator that signed you ever could, because he look at you as money. They looking at you as money. You came out of your mama, her heart broken. So she started having ailments and stuff because you in jail. So it's, y'all, look, it's got to be some change. It do. I know people want me to get on here and talk bad about Straight Drop and Cornelius. Straight Drop, 23 years old. As I said, my child, my oldest baby, is 23 years old. They was born months apart. He could have easily been my child. Okay. I got a 23-year-old. That's how I know they're easy to manipulate. They wouldn't know they had a nose if it wasn't sitting between their eyes, and they couldn't glance at it. Especially when you got street dudes that have been out in the street, they looking at as their OG. They've been taught, you really trust him because I got your back. They don't love them. They don't even love their own kids, because if they did, they wouldn't be out there banging. So they supposed to love you more than they love their own. They don't even love their own kids enough to even be in the household with them, or try to keep themselves out of trouble so that they can help to raise them, even if they ain't in the household with them. And so that's how I know Straight Drop was manipulated. And that's why you see his face and stuff swollen up. Because I sure called my friend last night and said, I see he got his little eye right there. It looked like somebody hit him in. He said, nah, we man him all day, every day. He in that cell 23-1, which means he's sitting there by himself. He's down there by the gang unit. So he in them cells down there, okay? So segregated completely. So when he comes out to use the phone, he got officers with him. When there's movement for him, when he has to go to court, all movement stops. Every inmate has to go in their cell and lock down. There's a code white used to be for medical. I forgot. Is it code red is for fire? I forgot what is it code blue? They call a code over the intercom because he's going to court. Him and Cornelius. Therefore, ain't no inmates out. Nobody out but the officers, and they're escorted to court. So ain't nobody hit them. That's that stress. That's that stress. That's why I could tell you that with y'all, this is my phone ring. I know that ain't nobody but mine. He's got the opportunity to sit. Had the opportunity to sit in that jail when he making those phone calls, and he hearing that them numbers been changed, because everybody running to try to cover their own tails. They understand. Everybody running. They hauling ass. They running. They understand, dog, these feds been in this for a long time. And so this needs to be a lesson to every Black man. I might get on here a little bit later. There ain't nobody but my mama. I got to go pick her up. I want y'all to have a good day.